please.
Mr. Schrader.
Here.
Mr. Peabody.
Here.
Mr. Wirtz. Mr. Hanson.
Here.
Mr. Eisen.
Here.
Mr. Split.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We gather at the City Council meeting seeking your guidance and wisdom for all that we do this evening. In the midst of this unusual time and circumstances of COVID-19, we do pray for the safety and health of everyone in our city and community. We pray for anyone suffering with a diagnosis of symptoms of COVID-19. We pray with the gratitude for all on our frontline workers and our healthcare facilities, our grocery stores, our service stations, our teachers and students, and all the essential work continuing. We pray for sustained health to our city businesses and for all those who have suffered economically. We thank you for the strong sense of community we have in the city of Ripon. May your blessings rest upon us all, upon the work done in this meeting this evening. Amen.
Amen.
Next, we have approval of the agenda for this evening.
Move to approve the agenda. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And any public comment? None. Thank you. Next, we have accept information reports from standing committees and staff, all of our regular monthly reports. Any questions or discussion on any of these items?
I'd like to pull, let's see here, it's number 7, the Ripon Area Fire Department.
Okay.
Move to approve the remainder of the report calendar.
I second that.
Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Doug, item number 7.
I'd like to note the last item on the report said there was a CO detector activated with 53 ppm of carbon monoxide. People, check your carbon monoxide detectors. Replace the batteries. And if you can't afford one, I think there probably will someone can help you get one. They're very inexpensive and they can save your life. So check your batteries regularly, like your smoke detectors. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve number 7, the Ripon Area Fire District monthly report.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have consent calendar. Unless the mayor, council, staff asks that one or more of the items be pulled, the list may be approved with a single vote. We have common council minutes from February 11th and February 24th. Any questions or discussion on the consent calendar?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. At this time, we're going to conduct a public hearing, proposed application for Community Development Block Grant, Public Facilities, cdbg PF. I'll declare the public meeting open at this time. We'll leave it open for a couple minutes. Dave, if you want to just, we have Dave Rasmussen with us on the phone here. Just let everybody know in the public listening the purpose of the public hearing for applying for this grant.
Sure, I've got some things to run through, Mayor, if I can. Basically, a general overview of the program itself. The cdbg was enacted through the Housing and Community Development Act in 1974. And since that time, the DOA, or since 1982, the Department of Administration on the state level has administered the program. The goal of the program is to benefit low and moderate income households, targeting funding to areas of greatest need, housing, public facilities, and for economic development. There is, historically, the DOA receives about $28 million per year for the CDBG program. And that, again, that is for the housing rehab program, which the city is involved with. There's the public infrastructure improvements, that's like water, sewer, streets. That's the project that we'd be looking at with resolution later on tonight. Infrastructure, emergency infrastructure, economic development for job creation and so forth. About $10 million would be be available this year in this competition. The public facilities program component of the cdbg program is a competitive program. They figure about $10 million is available in this year, but we really don't know until the awards come out, which is scheduled now. Typically they come out in July, but now with COVID-19, they've extended that date. They'll make those announcements by August 25th this year. The cdbg program can provide funds, $2 of funds for every dollar of match, up to a maximum award of $1 million. And that, again, is the public facility. So, again, as I mentioned, some of the eligible components of that cdbg program is the economic development program, which is low interest loans to business in exchange for job creation. It used to be that communities would receive that as a grant, and then they would loan that money out. And then as that money came back, that money was to revolve. And in the city of Ripon, you've had that program. And now what's happened in the last few years, or since probably November of 18, they've rolled out a program where now you have to use those fund balances of that revolving loan fund program for an eligible activity, cdbg eligible activity. Those programs, that money has to be used by February or January 31st of next year. And I'll get into that a little bit more later, but now they still have the economic development component of the cdbg program. But instead of a grant to the community and a loan to the business, it's still a grant to the community, but if the business says what it's going to do as far as creating jobs, then that becomes a forgivable loan after X number of years. The public facilities program is the program city is looking at applying for. Again, that's water, sewer, utility replacement. It's street reconstruction. We've done fire stations, libraries, senior centers with these programs. So it's a pretty wide range of activities in that. They also have a public facilities for economic development program. Again, I'm the guy with lots of acronyms. That's a program where you can apply for grants, cdbg grants, to make infrastructure improvements in your industrial park in exchange for a business creating jobs and so forth. So that's a separate program too. They have the planning grant for doing either site-specific neighborhood comp plans, those types of planning. So they have funds available for that too. You're familiar with the housing program. The city has a cdbg housing program which rehabs houses for both owner-occupied and renters or landlords that rent to low to moderate income tenants. And then another program, which is the new program that we spoke about before, is the cdbg closed program. And again, that's the economic development revolving loan funds that communities have. And I think when this program started, they estimated about $100 million was out there. The city of Ripon has about $525,000 in its fund balance for the cdbg close. And that money, again, has to be used by January 31st of 2021. It has to go, because it's still federalized dollars, it has to go to a eligible cdbg eligible project. So we're looking at using those funds towards the senior center.
Hey, Dave,
using those funds for the health fund.
Dave, if I can, right now what we have is the public hearing for the community development block grant for the public facilities. So I don't want, anybody listening or watching this they're kind of get confused on everything you're talking about right now. Right now, the item we're on is just the public hearing right now for the public facilities, the street project up there. So
Right. guys, Mayor, if these are the things that have to be talked about at the public hearing.
Oh.
So now I'm done with my spiel, so we'll kind of open it up for any comments or anything like that.
Okay, and Lori, we did send out notice to everybody within a certain distance about the public hearing for this evening?
This was published in the newspaper.
Newspaper, okay. So everything we needed to do, we took care of that? Just the newspaper?
Correct.
Posting was it? Okay.
So, Dave, back when it could be potentially available through Fond du Lac County, were those, they had some dollars that I think it was like $500,000 that they had to use because then there was projects that they couldn't use them on.
Their closed money.
Their closed money.
And Dave, we looked into that to see if they could use, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, they have used some of their funds for other projects. I don't know if we can see what funds they would have available that the city of Ripon could use.
The question I think was, when we were originally talking about this, is stacking ours and theirs with the same project, right?
Yes.
Dave?
Yeah, if they have funds available, but. Pardon?
They have funds available, but we don't know what that number is.
We don't know what that number is at this point.
Thank you.
John?
Closeout money, when he says used by January 31st, is it used or just earmarked for a project?
Dave, did you hear that question?
It is earmarked. Yeah, I heard that question. It is earmarked by then, and then you would have 2 years from that date to actually implement the project.
And that'll come into place when we find out about the other grants and the road projects coming up that we're talking about this evening. I mean, if we get the funding for the road project, then that then allows us to use our road money for next year for the project that John was just asking about with our closed money.
Right.
Good, John? Doug?
Just to clarify, I did ask Lori last week to check with the county, and I don't believe she's heard back. I think checked with them a couple of times about using their closed money to stack it with ours, but we don't, right now, we can't seem to get an answer. So if only there was someone at the county level in this room that maybe could intervene and, find out. I don't know who that would be.
We'll look into that some more.
Yeah, thanks.
You don't have any answer, Lori?
No, I've reached out twice and have not received a response back yet.
Anything else, Doug?
Nothing, thank you.
I'm just going to close the public hearing at this time. It doesn't mean we can't still ask questions. Dave is here with us, so I'll declare the public hearing closed at 7:13. Any other questions for Dave on the public hearing, what he's talking about right now for the cdbg PF? Okay, nothing else? Okay, then we'll move on to our action items this evening. The first one is going to be a resolution adopting citizen participation plan. Recipients of a cdbg PF grant are required to have in place a citizen participation plan attached to the city's updated citizen participation plan for council review. Staff rec. Dave, is there anything you want to say on this initially before we ask for any questions or motions?
The only thing that I would say, Mayor, is this is an update of you do have a citizen participation plan. We updated it because it did lack some information that was needed by the Department of Administration. So this is the updated version of the citizen participation plan.
Any questions on this? John?
Does this in any way, like when it says provide citizens reasonable and timely access, I mean, we're not obligated to pick up a handicapped person, bring him to City Hall, anything like that?
Dave, the particulars of this, it's just so anybody has any questions or needs any information, they have time between now and when we move forward that they can get that information. Is that how it is? That we'll get them that information? You want to explain that?
And part of the citizen participation plan is indicating that you will have a public hearing, as we just did, during the CDBG application stage. Anytime that you apply for any type of CDBG funds, you will have a public hearing during the application stage. And then if you're funded, then we would be looking at having another public hearing towards the end of the project to review the program itself, the project and the program itself. And that's basically what this citizen participation plan is to keep people informed about the community development action or community development program.
Any other questions? Okay, entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve it.
Second.
To approve the,
Resolution.
Yes.
Specifically, the resolution to adopt a citizen participation plan.
I accept that as a friendly amendment.
Thank you.
John, good. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Second action item this evening is going to be a resolution providing a guarantee for matching funds. Staff note, the CDBG PF program requires an adequate local financing match must be provided for the proposed Vermont Parkway project. Staff recommends approval of the attached resolution guaranteeing the funds. Lori, is there anything you want to say first before I ask Dave? Dave, you want to explain this here piece? I know you did once before, but just to refresh everybody on the matching funds and the money and why we have to do this.
Sure. As part of the application, we want to get as many points as possible, okay? If we have a guarantee of matching funds prior to when the application is submitted, we should score the maximum points of 40 points because, again, this is a competitive program. We try to get as many points as possible. We've already got a letter from the bank saying that the money is available. And this just is a resolution saying that we are going to come up with $1.2 million of interim financing provided by the Investors Community Bank. That money would be matched with the $1 million of CDBG funds, okay? The long-term financing goal for this is to, if we're funded by the CDBG program, that's $1 million. There's about, I believe there was about, in our financing plan, about 400 or, yeah, let's see here. 500,000 of state drinking water loan program, 490,000 of clean water fund loan program, and basically, hopefully getting $210,000 of principal forgiveness from their clean water fund program. The financing plan the proposed financing plan that we put together would have those loans, and then the debt service on those loans would be paid for by the TIF district.
Any questions on that? Anything at all? Entertain a motion?
Make a motion to approve the resolution providing a guarantee of matching funds.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? You got that, Ann? It was Howie seconded? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Third action item this evening is going to be a resolution authorizing submission of a CDBG PF application. Attaches a required resolution authorizing the CDBG PF grant submission for the Vermont Parkway project. Staff recommends approval. I don't know if there's really anything, Dave, that we need you to explain on this. It's just giving us the green light to move forward and fill out the application and apply for it. Any questions or discussion on?
That's correct.
Any questions or discussion on this item?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion to second. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Fourth action item this evening is going to be amendment to the 2020 Ripon Outdoor Recreational Open Space Plan. MSA is recommending an amendment to the 2020 Ripon Outdoor Recreation and Open Space Plan, which is required for submission of the stewardship grant, which is a deadline of May 1st, 2020. The two highlighted sentences on page 21 were added. Staff recommends approval of this amendment. Any questions or discussion on lines that were added into the plan? And there again, Lori, this helps us with our scoring and stuff, right?
Correct. Yes.
Anything at all?
We had previously approved this, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Okay. So we're
Council-
amending it this evening to add 2 lines.
Yes.
Move to approve the amendment to the Ripon, the 2020 Ripon Outdoor Recreation Open Space Plan.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Fifth action item this evening is going to be a resolution stewardship grant application. On March 23rd, the council authorized MSA to move forward with the stewardship grant application, attach the required resolution authorizing the grant submission. Any questions or discussion on this item? Anything at all?
Move to approve the resolution for the stewardship grant application.
I'll second that.
Rally, thanks, Doug. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Action item number 6 this evening is going to be a resolution, establish public participation procedures for comprehensive plan update. Wisconsin Statute 66.1001, parentheses 4, parentheses A, requires the common council to adopt by resolution procedures providing for public participation during the city's comprehensive plan update process. Staff recommends approval of the attached resolution. Lori, this has been to Plan Commission already. We did talk about it, I believe, at the last council meeting, and Plan Commission will be working on this again in the near future with representative from MSA.
Correct. This is a required resolution, again, just outlining the citizen participation. There'll be 2 plan commission meetings which are open to the public and 1 public hearing. So that offers citizens the opportunity to provide input.
Anything to add, Dave?
Really not involved in this.
No, I don't have anything to add. This is a separate process than the cdbg, but it involves the citizen participation in the plan development.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion on this item?
So there'll be 3 more meetings for the public. There'll be 3 more. There'll be 2 to work on it, 1 public hearing, and then it'll go through
Yes.
for vote.
And we went through the simple
Yes.
amendment procedure.
Correct.
All again,
Simplified process.
simplified process. Thank you.
There is one?
Anything at all? Entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the resolution. Establish public participation procedures for comprehensive plan update.
Thank you, Doug.
Second.
Thank you, Raleigh. Any further question or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Dave, I believe we can actually let you go right now. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it, and
Okay.
we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, very good. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Have
Dave.
a Good evening.
You too. Okay, 7th action item this evening is going to be COVID-19 employment policy. The policy has been updated with changes requested with changes requested by the council on March 23rd. Staff recommends approval. Lori, is there anything else you want to add?
In addition to the changes that the council had on page 3 of the policy, we did add a few more items that the city is doing to limit the risk. As far as, let's see, actually it's on page, it's on the last page, page 7. So we did add no burning except for recreational campfires. That was recommended by the fire chief. And we are encouraging people to make their ambulance and utility payments by either mail, online, or we have a drop box in the lobby. And pet licenses we're going to be doing by mail. So just to encourage, limiting social contact.
And Laura, you're going over this with department head staff on a weekly basis, correct?
Correct. We've been meeting every week on this.
Okay, any questions or discussion on COVID-19 employment policy? Jim?
And that talks about different things and office closures. Are we gonna have to rescind this hopefully when this is over and done?
Yes, yes.
Correct? So we'll have to have it as an
This
action.
needs to be on every agenda, and yes, if we have changes, we need to.
Good, Jim?
Yep.
Al?
Has this been accepted by our bargaining unit?
No, but I think we talked about that last time. Lud, you said if that would come up, we would address it at that time if they felt there was anything
if there
that
felt-
violated
right.
the
That
bargaining.
was the understanding that we had. Go ahead, Chief.
I can tell you, Alderman Schrader, that I did have a conversation with the union president in reference to this. He looked it over, didn't have any issues with it, and indicated it was good to go.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Chief. Any other questions or discussion? Jim?
To highlight what Lori said, it's not only the fire chief's discretion, the DNR has came out and said they are not allowing burning at this time. So it's not only by his discretion, it's actually,
It was a recommendation by the DNR and Chief took that and
wasn't
applied
even
it
a
to our.
recommendation, it was an order.
It's in order.
It's gone into effect.
Okay.
Correct.
Anything else?
Howie, is that your interpretation?
Yes,
of it,
that's
too?
the way I interpreted it.
Thank you.
Anything else? Entertain a motion?
Make a motion to approve the COVID-19 employment policy.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
And just to follow up on Alderman Warch's comments, this will continue to be on every agenda. And if it has to be rescinded, we will rescind.
Mr. Schrader?
The CDC puts out regular updates and those type of things. Does the city administrator and the department heads have the right and option to enact something without having to come to council for approval?
We actually do, and we have, and I've been signing them. We bring it here for ratification
Okay,
at each meeting, Al.
that
So
allows us to flow
Yeah,
and
good
allows
question,
us to
good
make
question.
changes.
That's a
So,
good question.
if there's something that comes up and Chief, call me in tomorrow morning, that's something we don't know about tonight, happens overnight or in the morning, we'll sit down, we'll look at it, talk at staff, I'll sign it. And at the next council meeting, you guys will ratify it and put it, it's,
Good,
we have to act, and it's a good question.
good. Thank you.
Great, Lud?
That is correct. It's in the preamble that this is a proclamation regarding emergency declaration. And that authorizes that the mayor and the Ripon Director of Emergency Management, City Administrator, can move this on a timely basis.
Perfect.
Amended.
Thank you.
Okay, the eighth item this evening on the action item is going to be columbarium. On March 23rd, council approved moving forward with the concrete prep work for the columbarium and to bring back more information about allowing more than one urn per niche. A revised purchase agreement allowing for up to 2 cremains per niche is attached for council's review. Any other questions or discussion on this item? John?
Under the rules and regulations, sales or transfers of interment rights for niche will not be permitted. So I just would like a definition of that. And no floral memorials or ornamentation will be attached to the columbarium. We can put flowers on graves, grave sites. Can't put them on the columbarium.
Yeah, it would be the same as a grave they can be there, but if they become worn and torn, we would remove them. We're trying to follow the same thing as a grave site.
Is the verbiage attached, meaning you're talking somebody would screw it to it or sitting alongside of it?
Potentially, yeah, setting something there, should be acceptable.
Yeah, I called one in Fond du Lac, and you can buy a brass or whatever vase, and you can put artificial flowers in it attached to your 11 by 11 stone. or granite piece, marker.
Yeah, I don't know if we would allow that or not. That's a good question.
Wouldn't see why not. Other cities are doing it.
Yeah, they're doing it.
Whatever you guys want, yeah.
I would feel that people like to place
Attached to
flowers.
which part of the granite? The faceplate of the niche?
Believe the faceplate, yeah.
Because that's the whole name's on there, so that would be
Right.
kind of difficult. It
And
would
it's not a
cover-
big,
Probably small.
yeah. Just a thought.
It's almost
Which
like
one was that, John?
It's, well, yeah.
It's
You
third
don't
from,
have a number. It's under rules and regulations on the
third,
second
third
page.
from, third from the
almost
bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to see examples of that, pictures, examples, because how is it attached? Who has to attach it? I mean, we're gonna let people just screw it into the plate themselves? Is it gonna be us? To the nature of.
I'm
how
sure
is
they
that
have a
actually-
certain, they got certain material and certain screws. My guess is it's probably on the plate because it, more than likely, it's probably bolted through with something so you can't probably access it from the outside. It's probably like call it a carriage bolt, I think, probably fastened on the inside. I'm guessing probably. I'm sure they have specific hardware, Jim, in attaching hardware for that. So we could certainly bring that back with that information.
Seen any pictures of anything like that?
Okay.
That's why I'm not familiar with it.
Okay.
We can look into that and get some more information and bring that back. Anything else?
But he had the question on the sales
Yeah.
and transfers.
So
Yep.
once you buy it, you can't sell it.
But the
If you change
concept
your
there, I
mind.
think, is if you put the name on, you've established it to be someone. And you
Sales or
can't-
transfers, so,
I mean, I think that's the concept, is that when you buy it, the name goes on it. Is that correct?
it can or it can't.
Oh,
It can go either way.
that would make a difference to me on the
Um,
sale or transfer, because
You know, we took this off of some other
speculate in the
stuff, but
business of,
what we've seen is a lot of transfers in
Cemetery plots?
cemetery plots, yeah. And we've seen the sales means selling it back to the city. So you can, if you buy a plot in 1960 for whatever price in the cemetery, you can sell that at that same price back to the city, if you so choose.
Only to the city?
Yes,
But you could transfer it
but you can
to
transfer that
somebody
to
else.
somebody else. So you can move it to your son or your daughter, or you can move it back to your, they kind of move them around sometimes like that. So
You're seeing that,
That's the ground plot you're saying.
that is yes,
So,
yes.
but you're saying the columbarium, you can't.
You can't, well, that's what that says, yes.
Yeah.
And especially if it, well, there would be some cost if it has the name on it
Right,
already,
yeah.
obviously, yeah. So,
And that cost would just have to be incorporated into the right of the sale or transfer.
Right.
So that there is no cost to the city out of that. Who's ever purchasing the transfer or the resale would have to incur that cost.
we can take that out if we want to be able to,
I mean, weird things, society, we're observing it right now. Same things can happen with burial plots and that. So that's something we should look into.
you got this, Mike, from
and out there that kind of we thought made
other
sense.
communities were doing and other businesses?
Whether it was from a private cemetery or whether it was from a public one, or we just kind of
Okay.
put things together there that we seen out there that we thought might apply.
Raleigh?
Yeah, I think you would remove some of the language, but you would specify that it would be permitted, but you need to specify what the conditions would be for transfer and for, in the case that you need to replace a nameplate or whatever, who's responsible for that cost. I don't think you don't need to remove it, but you need to specify under what conditions, or clarify what conditions you'd need. for that transfer.
If you guys think we should allow sales and transfers be acceptable? Maybe we should just take that out and then put in,
I think maybe transfers.
We're currently doing it with the city cemetery, correct?
We allow sales.
allow that to align
Sales
with
only
those
back.
two, it probably,
Currently with the
Yeah,
pots.
yeah, try to build it.
Anything else? Jim?
To,
and then get placed into there, we can put everything all in one with no cost. Okay?
Yeah.
Final date, all that. But if somebody engraves it up front, all right, and then they pass away and we put them in there, then there is a cost for that final date to be put on there.
so we'd have to, because they're signing a contract to do that, would we not have to disclose that price going forward?
I think we have a price list for that. Yeah, I don't know why that wasn't in the packet.
I think I saw it on here.
I don't see the cost for adding.
We want to do an example, whatever, it talks about open close fees, final date engraving fees, anything like that. Anything we're going to charge in addition to the original contract needs to be spelled out.
Yep.
Contract law. I mean, you got to have it on there. You can't just willy-nilly, whatever you want to charge down the road.
By the way.
Yeah.
So we need to add all other costs, correct? A list of all other costs.
We can come up with a cost.
Yeah, see attached or something. You can say see attached price.
Or see attachment or
Because you've got it under terms of sale, you reference it.
I had it laid out in the spreadsheet from,
Say see attached.
Saw it at the committee.
Go ahead, Jim.
And whichever ones would be sold would be due on this contract, and then in the future, if costs go
Yeah,
up for whatever
yeah.
reason, we can choose
Exactly.
to charge whatever, we would just amend that.
Exactly. The price list and the contract.
Current cost.
Correct.
Anything else? Okay. If nothing else, we'll be bringing that back at a future meeting when we get all the information ready. Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can you double check on liability and our costs for damages?
Okay.
And where we would be held liable, because if we have to rebuild that, the whole point of us building it is that we have the cost back from the units we're selling. So if we had to put it back to the way it was,
I think that was going to fall under our insurance, as it would with any building that we have. I think I checked with Lori on that.
It would be covered our insurance policy.
Yeah, we talked about that the last meeting. What was that? We're covered?
I believe so, just like the cemetery. Yep. All
We're
of our
talking or
open space.
anything, yeah, just something to think about.
We double check it though.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, action item number 9 is going to review street cafe ordinance. Staff note, on August 27, 2018, the council approved street cafes downtown from April 15th to October 31st, 2019, with no more than 2 parking spaces to be used per block. And with review after 1 year, the city received a complaint from one citizen who was opposed to the street cafe taking up 2 parking spaces. Staff has no concerns with continuing to allowing street cafes and has no suggestions amending to the ordinance. I know Dave Knuth is called about this last week, and he's looking to probably start working on his, tomorrow's the 15th, so he's looking to put that back up that he had up last year. So that's why it's here this evening. You guys asked for it last year to be brought back for review. It's here with you this evening for review. We can call him if you do have any questions or concerns. Howie, did you have something?
Yeah, that is on the block of my business. I've heard nothing but good things from the people in that area. So I would definitely like to see it continue.
We wanted to ask for a year to come back and just approve it tonight.
I think we'll probably do it on the annual basis. I think that was the intent.
Annual?
Annual.
Other questions? I was just asking our city attorney if, originally when you implemented this last year, it was to come back this year. So you could approve it and just bring it back annually and look at it every year. I mean, it's not that big a deal to put it on agenda and look at it in case things change. I mean, things change all the time and that way.
I think in light of the fact that there currently is only one party utilizing, I think it's important that we leave open if it becomes more utilized, is it going to create a problem for the city that we didn't anticipate? So I like the annual review.
Other questions? Entertain a motion.
So, sorry, Claire, Lud, so do you want us to wait till then, or where are you
I
going?
think, no, all I'm asking is that we do it annually, that we're doing it this evening, we're re-upping for another year, keeping control within the common council in case you get 3 of them, we establish.
And that's the max that
Is that
can
the
be, is
max we
one
can
per
have?
block.
1 per block.
2
And so-
spaces maximum per block
Exactly.
that
If
can be
3
used.
creates more problems than 1, is I
Yes.
guess why I'm asking for an annual approval of this to bring it back again next year. So the motion should be to approve for 2020.
I'll make the motion to approve the outdoor cafes for 2020 with coming back for review in 1 year.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion second. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Last action item this evening is going to be a resolution writing off certain delinquent ambulance accounts deemed uncollectible. Staff note, periodically staff brings forward a list of delinquent ambulance accounts deemed uncollectible. After reviewing them with the city attorney to make sure all reasonable collection efforts have been made, staff recommends approval of the attached resolution writing off $30,639.43 off the accounting records. Any questions or discussion on this item? Cal?
What period of time is this from?
Obviously, she works them constantly. Obviously, this goes back all the way to 10/8 of 2013.
Okay,
And
so this
that's-
is an extended
in an
period of
extended
time.
kind of thing. It's always in flux. We try to pursue, and again, as I think everybody appreciates, many of these either do not have an estate or they're passing through, and we don't get an opportunity to find a responsible person. We have tax intercept. We've started small claims collections on a regular basis, and we've also sent some to election
Record.
agencies. So the city does a wonderful job of making sure we don't miss on a lot of these people. But obviously, there are circumstances, and they're identified bankruptcy, no estates, and statute of limitations.
Just to add to the city attorney's explanation there, we got a couple newly elected council members will be joining us in a week. You know, it looks like a big number. We've been through paramedic, first responders the last year and a half, so the call volume has gone up considerably in Ripon. That will reflect in this number here versus some other numbers you may be seen before. There's also some regulations the state has, Lori, on Medicare it is, that we have to write off X amount of dollars per individual account. So there's certain reasons why these numbers grow and are here. One of the biggest ones lately probably is going to be because we're full paramedic and we have more call volume. So with that, you're going to see numbers adjusted here and things that we have to write off. So you can always contact staff if you have any other further questions on that. Anything else?
Move to approve the resolution to write off the delinquent ambulance accounts
Second.
deemed uncollectible.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Project updates and staff reports. Lori,
Nope, nothing.
Mike, nothing? Al?
Thank you, Mike. I got so many calls and texts this weekend thanking the city for opening the compost center. And it was one busy, busy place. But social distancing was practiced. People really appreciated it. So thank you.
Anything else? Jim?
Big thank you to Ann, the poll involved with the election last week. It wasn't a easy week by any means or an easy month for Ann. We are very fortunate to have her. So just thank you and everybody that did come out and help and all the citizens that voted.
Okay. I have no communications or appointments this evening. Any other agenda discussion? Just a reminder, we have Lori, our reorganizational meeting next week, Tuesday at 7 PM.
Correct.
The current council body will be taking their seats, starting the meeting, adjourning the meeting. The new council representatives will then be start their meeting, be sworn in. do some appointments, and that'll pretty much be it for the agenda, right?
Correct.
Be going over that tomorrow. Okay. Nothing else. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.